Hey gang, it's me, Lootsy Loots, back to share some stuff I'm working on with ya. So what do we got today, Loots? Well, I'm glad you asked. Today we're going to talk about cameras and the difference between perspective and orthographic cameras. So what I've gone ahead and done here is I found myself a little model from the internet and I've warped it in. As you can see, I kind of hacked it in here. There's like a lot of, if you get up close, there's a lot of missing pieces in it. Anyway, it serves though. I wanted something with some detail to help get a sense of what the weird thing is with orthographic perspective. I don't even know if you call it perspective. I think it's just orthographic. Anyway, so you might notice right off the bat that this is an orthographic field of view right here. And again, I think field of view is also a perspective only term. So I'm probably just butchering this. But anyway, so like this, it's hard to explain without like looking at the tools, kind of what's going on here, but I'll just sort of tell you what I got set up. So in real game universe, like right now I'm looking down the Z-axis, right now I'm looking down the Y-axis, and right now I'm looking down the X-axis. And so you see how like you get a true projection of this thing? I feel like it needs to be lighter. You get like a true projection. It's not distorted by your perspective. Like it's like what an architectural drawing would be, right? So now that you kind of got this in your head, I'm going to go ahead and hit my special turn it into perspective mode hotkey. Now, all my little particles here that I made for snow have definitely proven themselves to be very ugly in this mode, but it's because the cameras work a lot different with this renderer that I'm using. But I'm just trying to illustrate the point here. Do you see how now in perspective mode, pay special attention to like the tiles, that like that purple tile, the blue tile, the yellow tile, that our little cathedral is sitting on here. And notice as like I rotate, things are skewing and warping around. Now, of course, you know that that's because it's perspective, right? But it doesn't have the same orthogonality. Like it doesn't snap to 90-degree, grids all clean like this does. And even with this, like moving around, we can zoom in closer. And these are little light sources that I've got sort of hovering around it just to keep it illuminated. There's also two light sources that are actually in these bell towers, but I don't have like a physical graphic representing them. So you can't like, it's not as easy just to see that that's what's happening. But if you did look close, there's illumination happening from these towers. Anyway, that's kind of irrelevant. What I'm trying to point out is I really like the look of this orthographic camera. And this is not how 3D games are ever rendered. I mean, maybe I'm mistaken about that because I'm such a noob. But I would like examples of games that did genuine orthographic projection for 3D. So that's kind of what I've been noodling with. Let's go back to perspective just one last time just to see all the confetti. I made like a little script that does this little snowfall trick. You can see like they occasionally zig and then zag and all those little touches, you gotta create them all. But notice, actually it's kind of easier to see in this perspective. So can I zoom out? Yeah. So notice when I zoom out in perspective, you can see that the snowflakes are all being rendered into like a box, right? And then like as they descend more, you see them disappear because like they're being looped. But that box is like an idea of what the orthographic camera is. So you essentially just define a sphere of your camera's view. So let's go back to ortho. Now we've created this box, and anything inside this box called my frustum is being shown here. So like when I use my mouse wheel and scroll out and in, I am not moving my camera's position. It's hard to explain, but like going forward and backwards here won't result in any transformation, right? Because everything stacks as it goes further away from me. It doesn't transform based on its distance from me. So like this front door of the cathedral there, you could move that 1,000 points away in the Z direction, and because I'm looking at it orthographically, it will still have that exact shape. So it's really weird. Like, you don't have any sense of distance. That's why, like, when you kind of have like a default view like this, you know, like the faraway stuff looks just the same as the nearby stuff. So you kind of have to create that cue relatively based on like where you put your camera. That's why games with like ortho cameras like Diablo and stuff, they just represent the assets that way. But none of them are 3D like this, where you just jump in and play. And I don't know why. I mean, there's probably good reasons. Like, you kind of have, like, you can't have an orthographic, like, first-person perspective, right? So, like, no matter what you're doing, in some way, you are creating, like, it's a meta perspective. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, any orthographic perspective is, like, a meta perspective. So it works well when your character runs into a town and you're in a meta view of your character being in town. And so, like, you obviously don't, you know, your character can't see across the town like you can. So it's very meta what's happening. And the orthographics work well for that. But it's like, it works well for any time that you're looking at like a diorama or something where you want that meta complete view of all of the different places and spots to be able to get a good look at it, see what's happening up close, and then use that to, like, you know, make selections and whatnot. Versus, like, you know, perspective, where my controls are totally jit for this, but, like, you know, versus the perspective where, you know, this would be the character in first person. Maybe I'm flying a dragon down right now or some shit. And then that makes sense when it's like a perspective camera. Anyway, just wanted to show you this stuff. I thought this is a cool model. I thought that the whole idea about, you know, the perspective versus orthographic might make more sense when you just literally look at it from, like, you know, the two perspectives or the two types of cameras. One more time, there's perspective, there's orthographic. So this is like CAD tools and, like, you know, 3D design tools 101. So it's really silly to, like, put it back into like a 3D rendering environment in like a game engine. But it just helps play with it. Anyway, I appreciate you taking a minute to watch this. Hope you got something out of it. I would really like feedback on, like, cool kind of like orthographic game concepts. Like, I don't know, maybe you walk around this town and then when you enter this cathedral, it shifts into a first-person perspective camera while you explore the cathedral. Seemed interesting. I don't know, though. Just want to throw that out there. Have a wonderful day, guys. Take care. Bye.